closer as a group and nurture the bonds of our community. And we ask that you fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions that might affect the students, staff, faculty, and friends of Judson ISD. Continue to remind us that what we do here tonight, all that we accomplish is in the pursuit for the greater glory of you. We ask these and all things in your name. Amen. And now for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you.
At this time, we will have the appointment and the swearing in of a new board member to fill the vacancy in single-member District 7 at large.
Yes, Madam President, and tonight we also have the Honorable Mr. Ruben Cortez, a member of the State Board of Education, here with us. We are doubly blessed tonight because we also have an additional State Board of Education board member, Ms. Marisa Perez-Diaz. So we're very lucky to have them both here. We'll ask Mr. Rafa Diaz to please come up, and Mr. Ruben Cortez and Mr. Diaz's family also to please stand with him.
Does this one work? Well, while they're coming up, I just want to thank you guys for inviting me, and I'm very honored to be here tonight to administer the oath of office to my dear friend, Rafa Diaz. He's here with his beautiful wife, my colleague on the Board of Education, their precious kids, and his mom. I've known this family for a number of years, and I can tell you that they're a powerhouse when it comes to public education and giving back to their community. He already has a heart of service, but when those two little beautiful people came into this world, something different turned on inside of him, and he just sees life from an entirely different perspective today. And so I can stand here telling you, over the years that I've known him, you guys are truly blessed in the Judson community to have him as a trustee. And they say, besides every good man is an even better woman, and there she is. And there she is, his better half, Marisa. So, Madam President, with your permission, I will proceed and administer the oath of office. So, in the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Rafael Diaz Jr.,
do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Judson Independent School District as a member of the Board of Trustees, District 7 at large of the state of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. Congratulations.
Mr. Diaz, would you like to say anything?
Yeah. Is this on? Is this on? This one's on? Oh, fantastic. I'm going to step this outside of Ms. McKinney. So I want to thank everybody for being here today. I want to thank my family, gracias mamá, Catalina, Rafita, Marisa, for your continued support. I want to thank one of the best friends I've had, Ruben Cortez, for being here from Brownsville to swear me in today. It's a tremendous honor. So first off, thank you to the board for entrusting me once again in this incredibly important seat and service to this community. I told them that 13 months ago, when I asked them for their trust and I tried to convey who I was, who I am, via a resume and a bio and my words, it's a big task, right? Because there's nothing more than I want to do than to inject myself in that ink on that paper, but it doesn't capture a person fully. So they trusted me, and I never thought that I'd be here 13 months later, sitting in front of them once again, asking for their trust, but more importantly, being able to be held accountable. That's kind of unheard of, to be held accountable after you've asked for the appointment. But I felt good that I, fulfilled my promise to them, which was, I'll be honest, I'll, have integrity, and that my Northern Star continue to be my children, but more importantly, children, period. Making sure that we can serve them appropriately and better than ever before. The educational system is it's a brutally beautiful thing. It feeds us when we don't have food. It could provide shelter when you don't, possibly have a safe space. It promises to provide you an infrastructure of knowledge to be able to go out there and conquer your dreams, right? It aspires to tap into the potential of people, even when they don't know they have it. But if left untended, if left with a governing body that doesn't care about the ultimate mission, it could go very wrong. It could disenfranchise folks. It could keep them invisible. It can continue to marginalize communities. And it may not serve them the entire way. It could shortchange them whenever they need the entire return. And that's a tremendous responsibility. I don't take it lightly, because my children will ultimately be in this system. But more importantly, there will be children that I've never met who will be impacted by the decisions of today. That's a tremendous, tremendous responsibility. So my promise to you, board, once again, and to the community is, I'll show up ready. The focus doesn't change, which is ensuring that we can be, learner-centric and build out those pathways of opportunity that our children deserve. All of them, regardless of who they are, where they're from, what their background is, because that's a moral imperative. So I want to thank you again for this tremendous honor, but more importantly for sharing with me this shared vision. And I don't take it lightly that as I sit on this dais, I have folks around me that have dedicated their entire lives to education, to people. Educators, counselors, people leaders and educators, and Ms. Eden serving our country for nearly 30 years. So ladies, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I thank you all here.
I need a, oh, okay. Okay. Betty, is that Miss Eaton? Yes. Okay, great.
Trying to confirm it was her before we let her in.
That's Galaxy.
Yeah,
That's her?
yeah. That's Miss Eaton.
Okay. I did. You got it.
Hello?
That's her.
You're there, man.
Miss Betty?
Miss Eaton, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, we can hear you. We can't see you. It looks like your camera's off, but we can hear you.
Oh. Okay. What about now?
Now we can.
We good?
You're good.
Okay, I'm gonna put it on mute.
All right, let us continue now with our agenda. We are on item 3, public address, and Ms. Holmes, do we have any? We have none. We'll move on. Are there any recognitions?
Say anything about B?
Oh, item 1B. Thank you, Dr. Ball. Since we did not receive any applications for the District 4 single-member seat, we have decided, as a general consensus of this board, to leave the seat open until which time, in May 2021, when election takes place, and whomever would like to run may run at that time for the District 4 seat. We will have a 6-member board.
And Madam President, I'd also like to request of you and of our board, if tonight, since we do have a special guest in the audience that was instrumental in the writing of the resolution, I would like to ask respectfully if we could please move item 5A up at this time while we do have the Honorable Mr. Ruben Cortez.
Absolutely. Let us move on then. We will skip the others and come back to it. We will move on to item 5A, consider and take possible action to approve a resolution requesting Governor Abbott to include public school district personnel in the official expert vaccine allotment panel's definition of frontline workers. Dr. Ball?
Yes, ma'am. We have Dr. Fields that will read the resolution, and then I would like to ask Mr. Ruben Cortez if he'd like to say a few words.
Yes, ma'am. Again, this is a resolution requesting that Governor Abbott to include public school districts personnel in the official expert vaccine allotment panel's definition of frontline workers. Whereas, the Judson Independent School District Board of Trustees recognizes that the United States government, the state of Texas, and the local health authorities have declared a disaster and emergency regarding coronavirus COVID-19 hereafter, and is spread across the state and nation and continue to extend these declarations. Whereas the board recognizes that COVID-19 is an unforeseen and unavoidable emergency of urgent public necessity, that the World Health Organization has declared COVID-19 a pandemic, and that the additional emergency declarations have been and will continue to be issued in the coming days, weeks, and months. Whereas the public schools of the state of Texas impact millions of students and personnel and have a profound effect on the educational, social, economic, and public health issues and are integral to the general and welfare of the state. Whereas the public schools of the state of Texas are charged with the task of caring for, educating, nourishing, and providing extracurricular activities to millions of Texas students 5 days a week, thus allowing a vast number of parents the opportunity to engage in gainful employment to support the nurture wholesome home environments for the Texas students. Whereas the public schools of the state of Texas are dependent and dedicated school personnel from administrators, teachers, educational and professional specialists to clerical, maintenance, transportation, child nutrition, security, and other support staff to conduct the day-to-day operations of our schools and ensure the mission and goal of efficient delivery of instructions. Whereas, although our district and personnel, as well, districts across the state have responded heroically to the challenges brought forth by COVID-19 regarding the delivery of instruction, issues persist in the quality of learning, especially among students that would most benefit from live face-to-face instruction. Whereas the Texas Department of Health recently reported that 31,678 students and 18,742 school employees tested positive for COVID-19, and the board, having a substantial public interest in protecting the health and safety of its students and staff community, therefore, desires to ensure that the school district and community be prepared for the fullest extent possible in light of COVID-19. Whereas a substantial number of the school district employees and more susceptible to complications and or death from COVID-19 due to the age of pre-existing medical conditions. Whereas it appears that through the significant efforts of the public and private sector, effective vaccines may soon be available to administer to our citizens in an effort to thwart the spread of COVID-19 pandemic and return our lives to a semblance of normalcy and stability. Whereas the state of Texas convened a team of external and internal subject matter experts into the expert vaccine allocation panel to develop vaccine allocation strategies as recommendations to the Texas Commissioner of Health, including guiding principles for the equitable distribution of the vaccine across the state, which appropriately prioritizes making vaccines available to frontline workers and vulnerable populations. Whereas, in order to balance the educational, health, and economic issues described above, the Governor of Texas and the Texas Commissioner of Education and the Texas Education Agency prescribe guidelines and directives to public schools to currently make available live instruction to those students who request it, and to continue to aggressively phase in live instruction for all students in the near future. Whereas, the Board of Administration are following advice and directives from federal, state, and local authorities in responding to COVID-19. Whereas, Texas Public School District's personnel are essential to the day-to-day operations of a district as described above and critical for the resumption of live face-to-face instruction. Whereas, Mr. Ruben Cortez, District 2, member of the State Board of Education, recently requested that Governor Abbott, the school district employees statewide, be defined as frontline workers for the purposes of vaccine allocation, and the board wishes to join Mr. Cortez and support him in his request to the governor. It is therefore resolved that the Board of Trustees for Judson ISD finds a substantial public purpose existing in requesting of Governor and EVAP that all public school district personnel be designated frontline workers, as that is the term defined by EVAP, and essential frontline workers be given appropriate priority in the statewide administration of the COVID-19 vaccine as it becomes available. In witness thereof, I have here to set my hand and cause to fix the Great Seal of Judson Independent School District on this 17th day of December 2020, signed Renee Pashal, Board President, and Jennifer Rodriguez, Secretary, Board of Trustees. Mr. Cortez?
I move we approve this resolution as presented.
Is there a second?
I second.
This motion was made by Ms. Canoyer, seconded by Ms. Rodriguez. We'll start with Mr. Diaz. Mr. Diaz, what say you?
Rafa Diaz, aye.
Ms. King?
Tanya King, aye.
Ms. Canoyer?
Suzanne Canoyer, aye.
Ms. Eaton?
Deborah Eaton, aye.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Jennifer Rodriguez, aye.
Renee Pichelle, aye. This motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much, Mr. Cortez. And would you like to say a few
Sure,
words?
yes, Madam President, Dr. Ball. Well, thank you for your leadership, and I guess let me share a little bit of good news before I tell you that now more than ever, getting it approved is even more important. This morning at Governor Abbott's press conference, when he opened it up to Q&A, he got asked a question about the special call board meeting that the Houston School District had this morning. They had one item on their agenda, this resolution. It got approved unanimously by the Houston School District, and so the reporter asked Governor Abbott what he was going to do about public school teachers, not public school employees, public school teachers. And he responded that he believed that they should be classified as frontline workers and that they should be moved to the top of the list. And so while that was a great first step, and I'm glad that he's listening because these resolutions are being approved all over the state of Texas. They continue to come into my inbox. The Texas Association of School Boards, Madam Chair, should have sent you an email also asking you. I know that when I spoke with them, they send it out to every board president and to every superintendent in the state, urging them to adopt it. And they send it along with a letter of support that TASA and TASB co-wrote, requesting the same of the governor. And so this morning, he made some strong statements, but I think he didn't go far enough. I think in most school districts, as you're aware, the first person that most of our students are going to come in contact with is going to be the school bus driver. And then they're going to walk into the cafeteria to have breakfast. And what about them? The hall monitors, your front office clerks, your counselors, and everybody else that makes up this school family. And while I appreciated that he acknowledged that he was going to move them up to the front of the list, he cannot leave the rest of our public school community behind. And so I want to thank you guys. As you all know, our public schools are the backbone of every community, and we need to protect them and the people who are in them. They continue to talk about how we need to safely reopen the economy, and I think that the best way to do that is to protect the people who are taking care of these children who are in our schools every day. And so thank you, Judson Board, Dr. Ball, for your leadership tonight. It's going to go a long way in helping. And so what TASB is urging is that the district, either on behalf of the superintendent or the board chair, submit a letter along with the resolution to all of your local state representatives, your local state senator, the lieutenant governor, and to the governor. And so, again, there's not much I can say. I think you all would agree with me that you all should be first in line. Well, maybe not first in line, but in the beginning of the line. There are, like he said, the sword of the spear is everybody who's working in the medical industry right now that is in there. But public school employees are wave 4 or 5, I believe. And today he signaled that they would be moved to the top. But he needs to move everybody to the top. Even if it's at the bottom of round 1, he said by the end of December, over 1 million vaccines will be administered in the state of Texas. That's more than enough to at least begin vaccines to some of our public school employees. So anyhow, thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
Item 4, consideration. Oh, I'm sorry. We did have recognitions. Okay.
Hi, good evening. We do have a few recognitions that we'd like to share. We're excited to share with you this evening. Our first recognition is that the Texas Energy Summit awarded Judson ISD as an outstanding school district. Many of our school energy managers say that every dollar they save on energy is a dollar that can go to teachers, books, or computers, basically to the learning. School districts can use a lot of energy, but Judson ISD works very hard to reduce those costs. The Texas Energy Summit recognizes these districts and honors at least one each year. Over the last 2 years, Judson ISD has completed energy efficiency projects that will save enough energy to power 60 to 70 homes on a really hot day and about 100 homes over the course of the year. Judson ISD has been a leader in the CPS Commercial Demand Response Program, tallying over 9.9 megawatts of peak demand reduction over the past 2 years combined. That is an outstanding amount of peak demand for one district. Judson ISD was one of only 2 districts across Texas that were awarded as an outstanding school district this year. We'd like to give big kudos to our Energy Management Department team for leading us in this work. Our next recognition is the Judson ISD Christmas card design winners. So when you walked in to the board meeting this evening, you may have noticed some really beautiful Christmas cards that were displayed in the foyer. The Fine Arts Department held their annual Christmas card design competition, and as usual, there were many outstanding submissions. 3 stood out, though, as the winning design for the 2020 Judson ISD Christmas cards. As you can see on the screens and in person, these talented students were able to share the essence of the holidays from their own unique point of view. The winners are from Salinas Elementary School, 5th grade student Melanie Lopez. From Judson Middle School, 8th grade student Destiny Rodriguez Alvarez. And from Wagner High School, 9th grade student Diego Garza. And our final recognition is thanking the Maloof Realty Group. Community partnerships and connections are so important to the success of school districts. We are so grateful and excited this year to partner with the Maloof Realty Group. Mr. Maloof and his team put in great effort to secure over 500 coats to distribute to students all across the district. Each coat was beautifully wrapped, personally tagged, and delivered to each campus earlier this week. This generous donation totaled close to $10,000. We want to share many thanks to the Maloof Realty Group, his donors, his team, and all the people that helped organize and make this happen, like Mr. Scott Wilson and the Guidance and Counseling Department of Judson ISD. We have a short video that we would like to share so that you can enjoy seeing this amazing gift that was given to our students.
What we wanted to do is provide kids, especially upcoming winter months, some coats. Those that are a little less fortunate maybe aren't in a position to have either newer coats or warmer coats. So our goal was to provide the district with as many coats as possible. And we worked with the counselors at each school to identify those that were in need of coats and jackets. So they supplied us the gender, the size, the grade, and we kind of galvanized a lot of folks together to help provide those jackets.
In hindsight, looking back, and as we drive to all the schools and we are able to see the counselors and hear them and you know, their take on it, it, like I said, it's just been rewarding. I said, this is what the best gift we could have asked for as an office.
Students will be very excited, as will their families. A lot of our families contact us throughout the year and want to know what can we do. So sometimes we don't even have to contact them, they contact us. So to be able to help them in this way is going to be a great impact for them, especially because of the holidays and with the COVID season we're in right now.
It feels amazing. I mean, these kids are so deserving and they need so much, and I'm just so glad that I was able to be even just a small part of making a better Christmas for them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Tagenov. Now are we ready to go to item? Okay. We did not have any public comments, so we move on to item 4, consideration of consent items. And of course, if there's any items that you'd like to have pulled, just let me know. Item 4A, consider and take action regarding approving board minutes from the special and the regular meetings held on November the 19th, 2020. B, consider and take action regarding approving the monthly financial information as of October 31st, 2020. C, consider and take action regarding approving expenditures equal to or greater than $50,000. D, consider and take action regarding approving budget transfers across expenditure function categories. E, consider and take action regarding approving the Early Childhood Long-Range Plan. F, consider and take action regarding approving the submittals for request for proposal 21-06 demographic study. G, consider and take action regarding approving the submission of the 2020 tax roll as certified by Bexar County Tax Assessor Collector for the Judson Independent School District. H, consider and take action regarding approving the data sharing automated data transfer agreement for Judson Independent School District and Social Solutions Global, Inc. I, consider and take action regarding approving the MOU between Judson Early College Academy and Northeast Lakeview College, Alamo College's district, for the 2021-2022 school year. Is there a motion for these items?
I move we approve the consent items A through I.
Second.
It has been moved by Ms. Canoyer, seconded by Mr. Diaz. We will start with Ms. Eaton. Ms. Eaton, what say you?
Sorry, Deborah Eaton, aye.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Jennifer Rodriguez, aye.
Ms. Canoyer?
Suzanne Canoyer, aye.
Ms. King?
Shatanya King, aye.
Mr. Diaz?
Rafa Diaz, aye.
Renee Pichelle, aye. All of those items pass unanimously. We'll move on now to item 5, discussion, consideration of action items, and we will start with 5B. Consider and take possible action regarding the approval of a waiver to update the instructional calendar for the 2020-2021 school year. Dr. Ball.
Yes, ma'am. Last week at our TA meeting with the commissioner has given school districts the ability to count the minutes as in asynchronous instruction as part of the allotted minutes that students need to attend. So in an effort to help our teachers, that many of them are doing both virtual and face-to-face, we'd like to give them some more time for planning. Most importantly, we'd like to give them January 4th and 5th. Those 2 days will be very important to us to use. Then February the 5th, March the 15th, and April the 16th. So we're asking the board to make these adjustments to the 2020-21 school year, that those specific days would be asynchronous instruction, allowing the teachers to have time to plan, develop lessons, and work as they need to in an effort to continue our virtual and face-to-face.
Thank you, Dr. Ball. Is there any discussion? Is there a motion?
I move we approve the calendar changes as presented.
I will second it. The motion was made by Ms. Canoyer, seconded by Ms. Pichelle. Any discussion?
I have a quick question. I absolutely support giving the teachers time to prepare. I think this isn't a concern, but a question I have is that for the January 4th and 5th days, that might represent a shift, and literally tomorrow is the last working day for teachers. Have teachers been given the heads up that this might be coming so that they're prepared for a very short-term shift?
Yes, we met with the principals and they knew that this was pending approval of the board, but that we felt very strongly that the board would approve this because most of the time, all the time really, we have the board support on things that are good for our teachers. So the campuses are aware of that. We've also let the teachers know that as soon as they finish uploading their lessons, then they can leave tomorrow. So I think a lot of them might be eager to do this right away. Then also we have the letters and information ready to go to inform the parents immediately after this board meeting that it was approved, so parents can also make arrangements.
Any other questions? Mr. Diaz, did you want to? We'll start with Ms. Eaton. Ms. Eaton, what say you?
Deborah Eaton, aye.
Mr. Diaz?
Rafael Diaz, aye.
Ms. King?
Shatanya King, aye.
Ms. Canoyer?
Suzanne Canoyer, aye.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Jennifer Rodriguez, aye.
Renee Pichelle, aye. That motion passes unanimously. Item C, consider and take possible action regarding the approval of TEA educator appraisal waivers, the T-test and the T-PES, and the Judson ISD employee evaluation waiver for the 2021 school year. Dr. Ball?
Yes, ma'am. Also, additionally, last week at the TEA phone call that we have with the commissioner once a week, we were made aware that there is a waiver so that we could grant our teachers and our administrators and all employees of Judson ISD relief in regards to an evaluation. This has been a year like no other, so we are trying to do everything possible to grant our teachers a little bit of flexibility and leniency because they've done so much for us. So if the board were to approve this waiver, what it does is allows us, very similar to last year, where we will not be doing evaluations this year. That does not mean that we're not going to support our teachers. We're still always there to support them, but I think this will ease a little bit of the stress that they have in regards to all the things that they've been asked to do.
That is something I can support. All right, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the item? Do I need specific language on that motion?
Yes, please.
I don't know it.
I could read it for you.
Motion to approve the waiver for formal evaluation.
Yes. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved by Mr. Diaz and seconded, made by Mr. Diaz and seconded by Ms. Canoyer. Is there any other discussion? We'll start with Ms. Eaton. Ms. Eaton, what say you?
Deborah Eaton, aye.
And Ms. Rodriguez?
Jennifer Rodriguez, aye.
Ms. Canoyer?
Suzanne Canoyer, aye.
Ms. King?
Shatanya King, aye.
Mr. Diaz?
Rafael Diaz, aye.
Renee Pichelle, aye. And again, this motion passes unanimously. And make sure that you let the principals and all of the teachers know that we support this 100%.
Yes, I'm very lucky. I know that I have a team right now that's out there probably emailing and texting the principals as we speak because there's a lot to be done. So I know that they're letting them know so all preparations can start ASAP. Thank you.
Okay, very good. We'll move on to item 6, discussion items and reports. A, superintendent report, the construction update. Dr. Ball?
Yes, ma'am. You have the construction report in front of you or in your packet. And if there's any questions, we will certainly answer them. But that is our standard report.
Are there any questions? 6B, leadership ISD presentation. Dr. Ball?
Yes, ma'am. We'll have Betty go ahead and invite the Michelle. She is going to be giving us some information. I said Michelle, but it's Patricia, sorry. Patricia is going to be sharing information in regards to the training that Leadership ISD can provide for us. Last month, there were 2 other individuals that presented information, and she was not able to be with us at that time. But tonight we do have Patricia with us, and she will share some brief information with you and also be able to answer any questions. Patricia, do you hear us?
I do.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will go ahead and start with your presentation, and the board might have a few questions afterwards.
Okay, and it's all right for me to share my screen, or would you just want me to do a verbal presentation? I'm good with either.
You can share the screen.
Okay, great. Thank you. I don't think I'm able to right now.
We are clicking right now on the multiple participants, so just give us 1 second.
Absolutely.
It was where
She
you
can
were
try
at,
it
Dr.
now.
Fields?
She can try.
Oh, it's on. We're ready.
Okay, there we go. Good evening. Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, great. Well, good evening, and thank you for having me, board and Dr. Ball. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak at a later date. There's a lot going on, and I was not feeling well, so I appreciate that. So my name is Patricia Arvanites, and I'm the CEO and founder of Leadership ISD. And Leadership ISD is an organization dedicated to improving student outcomes and closing racial opportunity gaps through community advocacy and equitable and effective school board governance. Our mission is to equip community leaders to advance academic excellence and racial equity in public education through advocacy, policy, and school board governance. And we have 3 priorities. We inform and equip our community. We support advocacy efforts from our community to our board tables. And we support our school board trustees on equitable governance. Leadership ISD presents the following training: Visionary Governance Workshop, including the LSG certificate. We actually do this training a little different than the TEA does. We can break it up into 4-hour sessions and do the board goal setting work as we go. We find that that has been a much more efficient way of doing this training and focusing on community-driven governance. We also do Team of 8 training, which is about culture building, conflict resolution, moving from safe spaces to braver spaces. So we talk about and name race. We do leadership team training, and that training focuses on progress measures, HB3 work, and engaging the board effectively. In addition to those specific trainings, we have transformation plans that build out a combination of training, and they do include feedback procedures, goal monitoring, superintendent evaluation, and community conversation. And then in addition, our racial equity transformation work focuses on that training around racial consciousness, equity audit support, and equity policy work. So that is the scope of our work. Our team consists of experienced leaders who bring both a TEA certification in governance, organizational change management training, and certification and racial equity. And so we can bring different trainers to bear depending on the work and the scope of the work that the board would like to engage in. When we think about our board work, we really focus it in on this structure with the vision and values. So identifying and setting student outcome goals. The values is how we want to get there. So those are kind of our non-negotiables or our boundaries. And what does that look like from the board standpoint? And then how do we hold our superintendent and their team and measure progress? And how do we hold for that accountability? Our board superintendent and our board and our superintendent, we are very focused on working collaboratively. And we believe that when all of that is tied together, we can improve student outcomes. So the visionary role of a trustee and of a school board, the way we see it, is through community engagement. And we want to listen to our community and represent the vision and values. Board governance, setting those student outcomes and goals and boundaries, and then allowing our superintendent and her team to implement strategies and to demonstrate progress measures. Leadership ISD leads and lives in those first 2 categories. So we also work with our superintendent and the board, and we view our superintendent's evaluation as a cycle of governance that includes all of those goal setting, boundaries, and progress. And so that is a very brief presentation of the work that we do and how we focus on that work. And I'd love to be able to just answer questions at this time.
Are there any questions, board? Does anyone have any questions?
I do.
Go right ahead, Mr. Diaz.
Hi, Ms. Patricia. Thank you so much for the presentation. Question for you. You said that there was a difference between your approach to the LSG training, right, under the Visionary Governance Workshop, and TEAs, and then you mentioned the time allocation, but there was more beyond that. Is that right?
Yes, there is. We really look at it with an equity lens. We do a lot of the data work and support around that, breaking things down, helping look at your data disaggregated by race, and spending a lot of time talking to your community, building that in. And we, as opposed to just doing what you probably heard a lot about, is this two-day Lone Star governance training. What we prefer is to actually do that work in, with the actual board goal setting work alongside it, so that we don't just do 2 days, then go away and come back and try and hope that the board can move through this. We believe that it has to be done, simultaneously. So that's how we really focus it on. And we also want to make sure that we're bringing in a racial equity lens to the work.
Thank you. And then that racial equity lens, is it specific to our district based on our specific data? Actually, let me take a step back. Is that Visionary Governance Workshop specific to Judson in that you look at our data, you look at maybe the board's past performance, do some sort of preliminary audit to understand where you're starting off from? That way we can have a truly, contextualized training?
Absolutely. This would be customized to Judson ISD and to the needs of your community and your board.
Perfect. And then out of curiosity, why does the organization choose to lead from that community engagement perspective?
Well, we believe that our school boards represent our community, and you do that by representing the vision and values, and that is manifested in student outcome improvement. And without that community voice, we just haven't seen the kind of transformation that we're hoping across the board, not in Judson ISD necessarily, but across Texas. So we really want to infuse our community voice in the work so that they are closer to the decision-making process.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Are there other questions?
Madam President, I do have a question.
Please go right ahead.
You mentioned about the community engagement component. Could you elaborate a little bit more as to how that's done?
Sure. So it depends on, as I said, it's contextualized for Judson. So generally, whenever the board starts to do the work, we also want to make sure that we're engaging the community in that work. And so we have gone at different districts have done it different ways. We have engaged in focus groups leading up to the work and helped the board do that. We've done surveys with districts, or what we've also done is actually scripted community engagement sessions between the board and the community to share your goal, where you want to go as a board, so your goals and your student outcome measures and what that looks like, so that you have feedback by the board or by the community in each one of those measures. So it can be set up however you would like.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Are there other questions? We would like to thank you very much, Ms. Patricia, for giving us your presentation on Leadership ISD.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Enjoy your evening and your holiday.
Thank you. You do the same. We will move on to item 6C, provide update on COVID-19 information. Dr. Ball?
Thank you. I do have a few updates. COVID is constantly changing, whether we're getting information from Dr. Wu and the city officials or from TEA. So it's constantly changing, so I just wanted to provide a little bit of information. Most of this information is probably not new to anybody, but again, I just wanted to be able to provide that. I think most of you have heard about how TEA changed the guidelines going from 14 days to 17 days. So that has been something that has been approved by TA, CDC, and also UIL. All three of those organizations have changed it. One of the biggest things that we're waiting to hear from is the Family First Corona Response Act should end on December the 31st. We're hoping that that is not going to be the case and that something will happen, but we are waiting to hear about that information. In addition, we can, yes? You know, she doesn't. No, but I will definitely make sure she gets it. Yeah, sorry. Yep, I will send that to you, Ms. Eaton, tonight. We continue to take our survey. We are one of the few school districts that have a survey for every single employee, that they have to take this survey in order to come to work. We're enhancing that when we come back on January the 4th, so we can continue to assist our employees and make sure that they're healthy when they're coming to work. So you'll see there on the yellow part in regards to some of the additional components that we're adding in to our employees. They will be able to immediately call in for a day on ASAP instead of having to wait for somebody to call them and give them approval. The employee will be able to do that themselves, so that is one of the benefits. In addition, some of the data that you hear a lot is we are waiting for a decision in regards to hold harmless funding. That is a big component for us. If it's not extended, we could lose up to $4 million. That is in addition to the $8 million that the district has already spent on technology. Child nutrition is in a deficit right now, the PPE equipment. So lots of things that we've had to do. So I just wanted to bring that up because as many of you might hear about the importance of advocating that we continue with hold harmless, that is very important to our district and all the other districts in the state of Texas. A lot of times people are confused in regards to a person truly having COVID or being quarantined. Judson ISD has quarantined lots of individuals in an effort to be very cautious. That does not mean that we have a lot of individuals with COVID, but we have gone above and beyond to quarantine our employees and even our students. That's why sometimes you'll see a large number of groups because we're quarantining them. Doesn't mean that they all have COVID, but that's our actions to try to make sure that they don't have it. Wanted to share with you a little bit of the information on staff positive cases. Last week was 0.20. Staff quarantined last week was 8.39. Again, 8.39 might sound alarming, but it doesn't mean that they have COVID. We're quarantining them to make sure they don't get it. Students last week was 0.09, but students quarantined were 10.63. So want to keep that in everybody's forefront as you hear that a whole class is out or that several teachers are out. We're quarantining them to be proactive. Some of the things that we consider our next steps. One you approved today, and we are very grateful for that, has to do with the calendar. I know that our staff will be very happy with the calendar approval, so they will have more time to be able to plan. We're continuing to work with many coalitions that the district belongs to and also the resolution that the board passed today. The two things that we really want to make sure go into effect is the hold harmless. We want to make sure we continue to have that funding. One of the things when we come back from the holidays is everybody's temperature will be checked. We have purchased plenty of thermometers, thermometers, sorry. So they will all everybody will have their temperature checked. That's an indication that they're healthy. So we will continue to be able to do that, start to do that for our staff. In addition, all our campuses now have the test kits. The nurses are being trained for that. So if anybody feels that they want to be tested, we have that availability for an employee and for a student. And we're working on making sure everybody has that training. The nurses have that training. Again, January 4th and the 5th are very important for us because we will start the 4th by evaluating our situation, seeing where we're at, looking at to see if anybody is positive, how many staff members we have, and then be able to make a decision after that. Those are just some of the points I wanted to highlight, but I'm open to suggestions and questions.
I have a question about the COVID tests. So that is going to be kind of like an on-demand thing. Like if I want to get a test, I can get it, but it's not going to be mandated that there's wide-scale testing.
Yes.
Okay.
We do have 14,000 tests at this time, and we could replenish that if we needed to. So it's for anybody that would like to. These tests, the results come back almost immediately, 15 minutes. So that's pretty quick.
Dr. Ball?
Yes, ma'am.
So once the parents know that this test is available, I suppose the principals will have some way of communicating that to their communities. And so once parents in the community know about this, then what will they do? How will they make an appointment to have the test done, or tell me how that's going to proceed?
Yes. So this is new information to all of us in the sense that we have just decided recently this week about adding this additional layer. So our lead nurse will be working with the staff, her nurses, to be able to make the proper procedures in place.
Okay, and then how soon after that will parents be able to?
We'll be ready for when they start back on the 6th.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
One question.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Ball, the county just approved some funding for free testing as well. Will we disseminate that information as well too?
Yes, the team is looking into that right now.
Perfect. Okay. We just want to thank the county for that because that's additional tests, providing us some additional infrastructure for assistance.
Anyone else? Ms. Canoe?
I just want to say thank you to the staff and to you, Dr. Ball, and to all our teachers and staff members at the campuses. I understand that some people aren't happy that we're doing the quarantining that we're doing, but it all is in an effort to make sure that we continue as this board, this superintendent, have always tried to put our students first and safety of our families and staff members first. And it is inconvenient, but so is death. And I know that because I lost a brother-in-law to COVID this summer, so I can say that. This is a very serious illness, and whatever we can do to make sure that we're not perpetuating it in our district, I'm happy to support. So thank you for all your hard work.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ball. We appreciate this.
Thank you. And I just want to reiterate that it's about a choice. A lot of times people are upset that we're open, but parents do have a choice. And I think that's what's important, that we will continue throughout the entire school year, have a choice. And the team is already working on the choices for next year in addition.
Very good.
Dr. Ball, this is Deborah Eaton. I just want to pass this along to you, and maybe the team can check into it. The Spurs organization has some money that they're trying to share with the community. And so maybe if somebody checks into that, we might be able to get some money towards the technology that we need for our students.
Yes, ma'am, we will definitely look into that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
If there's no other discussion, we will move on to item 6D, update on board advisory committees, growth and planning, insurance committee, and Hall of Honor. Dr. Ball?
Yes, ma'am. We've been working on these committees, and I would like to address the board in regards to my recommendation. This is just a recommendation, but I do have a reasoning for these recommendations. I would like to have each board member assigned to one of the committees. The first one, Growth and Planning Committee. I'd like to assign Ms. Rodriguez and Mr. Diaz. My reasoning for that is Mr. Diaz now represents all of District 7, which is a large component. Ms. Rodriguez also has her experience in working with other school districts and other organizations that I think both of these individuals will be an asset to the Growth and Planning Committee. Then the Insurance Committee. I'd like to recommend Ms. Conoyer and Ms. Eaton. The reason for these recommendations is Ms. Conoyer has been an employee of the district. She's familiar with the insurance. Ms. Eaton's background in the medical field and would be an asset. So those two individuals would be an asset to the Insurance Committee. The Hall of Honor Committee, I'd like to recommend Ms. Pichel and then also Ms. King. The reason for that is Ms. King is a former alumni of the district. Ms. Pichel you have done a tremendous amount of work already on this committee. You have longevity in this committee and you would be a great resource to this committee. So my recommendation to the board is that I could share with my team that these would be the individuals that will be part of this committee and we could start to move forward with the committees.
Thank you, Dr. Ball. Would anybody like to say anything? Do you have any objections? I think you did a great job in matching the board with the committee, and we all support it.
Thank you. The committee members that are on these committees, we'll share with you the dates immediately so you can put those on your calendar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 6E, update on board training, conferences, events, and consider future agenda items request by board members. Is there anyone that has anything that they'd like to share? No? Then we'll move on to item 7. We're going into closed session. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074, discussing personnel, the personnel report, and updates including new hires, resignations, and administrative appointments, Director of Accountability and Assessment, and number 2, Executive Director of Facilities Planning. Item B, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, attorney consultation regarding legal issues related to potential, anticipated, or pending construction litigation and construction issues. C, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 and 551.072, consultation with legal counsel regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. D, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 and 551.072, consultation with legal counsel regarding possible transfer of real property by the City of Converse to the district. The time now is 7:06, and we will proceed into closed session. session at 7:50 p.m. Item 8A, consider and take possible action regarding the personnel report and updates including new hires, resignations, and administrative appointments, one being the Director of Accountability and Assessment, and two, Executive Director of Facilities and Planning. Is there a motion?
I move we approve the personnel report as discussed in closed session.
May I have a second?
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Canoyer, seconded by Mr. Diaz. We'll start with Mr. Diaz. Mr. Diaz, what say you?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Shatanya King, aye.
Ms. Canoyer?
Suzanne Canoyer, aye.
Ms. Eaton?
Deborah Eaton, aye.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Jennifer Rodriguez, aye.
Ms. Pichelle, aye. That motion passes unanimously. And Dr. Ball, would you like to?
Yes, I would like to congratulate the two following individuals, Helen Keaton as our new executive director and Elba Contreras as the new director for assessment and accountability.
Congratulations to both of you. We will move on to item 8B, consider and take possible action regarding legal issues related to potential anticipated or pending construction litigation and construction issues. Is there a motion? There is no action. Item C, consider and take possible action regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Is there a motion?
I move we proceed as discussed in closed session.
And is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Ms. Canoyer and seconded by Ms. King. We will start with Ms. King. Ms. King, what say you?
Shatanya King, aye.
Mr. Diaz?
Rafael Diaz, aye.
Ms. Eaton?
Deborah Eaton, aye.
Ms. Canoyer?
Suzanne Canoyer, aye.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Jennifer Rodriguez, aye.
Renee Pichelle, aye. That motion passes unanimously also. And item D, discussion and appropriate action regarding the acceptance of a transfer of ownership of real property, which is the Converse City Pool, from the City of Converse to Judson Independent School District. Is there a motion?
I move we approve. I lost my words. I had a motion ready. I move we authorize the superintendent to act as discussed in closed session.
I second that.
The motion has been made by Ms. Canoyer and seconded by Ms. Eaton. We will start, pardon me? We will start with Ms. Eaton. Ms. Eaton, what say you?
Aye.
Ms. Eaton says aye. Ms. Rodriguez?
Jennifer Rodriguez, aye.
Ms. Canoyer?
Suzanne Canoyer, aye.
Ms. King?
Shatanya King, aye.
Mr. Diaz?
Rafael Diaz, aye.
Renee Pichelle, aye. That motion passes unanimously. If there is no further business, oh, there was one more thing I wanted to add. I forgot. Dr. Ball, when we were talking about updates and training and future agenda items, I wanted to mention that our representative from our Bexar County Coalition, Bobby Blunt, sent an email saying that the coalition has been working on a second publication.
Yes. Oh,
And
sorry, yes.
he wanted us to know that
It's in the review
they are
phase.
in their final stages,
Yes.
yes, of review.
Yes, ma'am.
And so he is going to be sending.
He did.
Okay, so he did send?
Yeah.
So we all could take a look at it. It's in the Dropbox. But I don't know if Judson got the first publication, but he did say that every school district is going to get a copy.
So when the first publication came out, of course, I was not with Judson ISD, so I don't know if Judson received one or not, but I will definitely look into it and see.
Well, what we know now is that we will have the second one.
And Dr. Taganoff has it to look at right now, just checking for clarity and.
Okay, very good. Does anybody have anything else?
No, I just want to clarify for the public, though, that you're talking about a book that is giving the history of all the formation and so forth behind all the school districts in Bexar County.
With charts and graphs, demographics and information that would be great for incoming families that are moving into the county. All that information is in that book. I just want to wish everybody happy holidays. Enjoy your time off. It's well deserved. And enjoy your families and just have a great time. And this meeting is adjourned at 7:50.